Welcome to the Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fortall School of Government and Professor Mutahingunye. Today we will posit a hypothesis. We argue that in Kenya we have three governments, and we will call this misnomer GOK to the power of 3. Government 1A is the government in place, run by President Kenyatta. This is what we elected. Government 1B is the government in waiting, run by William Ruto within Jubilee. And lastly, we have government in the shadows, run by Raila Odinga from the dark political bushes. A very effective government. This uneasy fellowship of 3 is the root cause of all our national confusion. Consider the reasons with us.
Presidents are made through KCPE results. But before we talk about CS Matiang'i, we will paraphrase a quote from George W. Bush in a graduation ceremony. He said, "To those who scored the A's and the B's, congratulations, well done. And to those like me who were graded with C's and D's, congratulations too. You have a high chance of becoming president." In real life, the C's help the A's and the B's to get jobs from the D's, the failures. We now turn to CS Matiang'i.
What Matiang'i is doing is not for Matiang'i to take the glory. When praised, a clever minister must always deflect the credit to his boss. He must never outshine the master. And this is what Matiang'i did this week. The public even wondered what he would do if he was given his boss's job, the presidency. And Matiang'i did not correct this anomaly. He enjoyed it. What is my point here? Matiang'i must avoid the fate of Daedalus the genius. This man was imprisoned with his son, but he built some wings made of feathers and wax to help him escape prison with his son. Before the two escaped, the father warned the son not to fly too high because the son would melt the wax and he would fall. But after taking off, the son got too excited by the thrill of flying. He flew higher and higher, enjoying the glory. And the closer he got to the sun, the more the wax on his wings melted. Then he fell to the ground and died.
Today, Matiang'i is where Anne Waiguru was 2 years ago. She was voted the best minister ever locally and also internationally. And the media loved her. But while she was flying high, she forgot the first law of politics, that the only time you begin from the top is when you are digging a hole. When Anne was at the top, she did not know that she was actually digging a hole. And because I want Matiang'i to succeed, I invite him to study carefully the rise and fall of Anne Waiguru. But Matiang'i needs to study a second thing from history. When the Americans told Robert Ouko that he would make a better president than Arap Moi, Ouko enjoyed the flattery, and then he fell. In sum, the public this week fantasized about a Matiang'i presidency. Then they suggested that he would do a better job than his boss, President Kenyatta. But Matiang'i did not correct this fantasy. He even seemed to enjoy it. Now, if a king is jealous by nature, a king who does not express his jealousy is worse. And because Uhuru has not complained about Matiang'i taking all the glory, does not necessarily mean that Matiang'i is correct in what he is doing, in failing to reflect that glory back to his boss.
Now we turn to the government in waiting, run by William Ruto. This government is too impatient, too aggressive, and too obvious. Such obviousness can only attract a reaction like that of Jerry Rawlings, former president of Ghana. Rawlings was a military man who was irritated by the casual nature of his deputy president. One day, Rawlings got fed up and decided to literally beat up his deputy president during a cabinet meeting. He beat his poor deputy senseless. And then the naive deputy ran to a police station to report the president's bashing. Of course, nothing was done. In fact, the inspector who recorded the statement was promoted. This is how much the deputy president had veered off from reality. William Ruto should thank God that Uhuru is not originally from the army and that he is a Christian. Otherwise, Uhuru would behave like Jerry Rawlings out of irritation. But like Rawlings' deputy, Ruto should ask himself if he has veered off from reality instead. He needs to interrogate how his government in waiting has conducted its business.
The Ruto government in waiting, or government Wambi, is as paralyzing as the Raila shadow government for two reasons. Reason number one, Ruto sees himself not as deputy president but as co-president. And there is nothing as confirming of this as the way he refers to the president when his official guard is down.
Unafikiri nikilete fujo kwa huyu jamaa ala hata nyaye walikaa nyuma ya baba ya huyu jamaa akakuwa kitu.
This casual reference to the president as huyu jamaa is meant to be charming, although it sounds a little disrespectful. And the person speaking here is not William Ruto, the deputy president, but it is William Ruto, the man who thinks he is co-president. But we must say something else about William Ruto. This man is a political accident from the Moi labs. When Moi was mixing political acids in his laboratory, his intention was to create Gideon Moi, a pedigree successor who spoke Kalenjiness with British accent. But unfortunately, the acids produced one William Ruto, a hustler. The Kalenjin political underclass, led by Ruto, is now in power. This underclass is hungry and it is in a hurry. And this is why they have to accumulate with speed and to accumulate legitimately, of course.
This is a story to the president about Raila and his shadow underground government. One day, a guy called Abunwasi was selling a house to his friend. After they had agreed on the price, Abunwasi made an offer. He said, "I will give you 20% discount if you take the whole house except that nail I put on the wall." His friend did not hesitate. 20% discount just for a little nail on the wall? Too good to be true. So he agreed and Abunwasi sold the house but retained ownership of the nail. A few weeks later, Abunwasi's friend was enjoying lunch in the living room when Abunwasi showed up and said he was there to use his nail. His friend said, "Go ahead." So Abunwasi took off his dirty, smelly jacket, hung it on the nail, and left. The next day, Abunwasi came to use his nail again. He took the jacket down and replaced it with a pair of old, tattered, smelly trousers. It wasn't long before Abunwasi came and hung a bag of fish, rotten fish. The whole house stank to the high heavens. Abunwasi did not return for his bag of stinking fish for days and days. In the end, his friend moved his family away from the stinking house. Is this what Raila did in government? Did he sell his part of government, retaining the nail on the wall? Is this why some houses in government are smelling?
Like in this Abunwasi story, Raila has a nail in every government office. Every Monday morning, he goes to a political fish market, buys some smelly fish, and has it packaged in a smelly polythene bag. Then he distributes his rod to be placed on his nails in every government office. And this is how government ends up stinking from Monday to Monday. But what is my point here? How come Raila has a nail on the wall of every government office? In my view, Raila is still the informal prime minister. The structures he set up in government are still intact, and they report directly to him. He runs a parallel government. In the meantime, Uhuru is on his own. The deputy is busy preparing for 2022 to care for the agenda for today. Ministers like Matiang'i are entertaining public flattery that they could do Uhuru's job better than him. And it is this tragedy of multiple centers of power that is the cause of our national paralysis.